You ever look up in the stars and think, damn, there's a never-ending universe right in front of me. All of the stars, planets, nebulas, black holes, and galaxies. It's funny to think that each part of the solar system can possibly have other life forms. And with all of this, we'll never truly know everything that lies out there. Speaking of galaxies, there's this really cool game called Super Mario Galaxy, and it has a sequel. And for the next, I'm going to be talking about these games. So, let's begin. These games, as we know them, are masterpieces in the space of video games. They made millions of memories for so many people, and these games, they're the video game version of crack. There's endless replayability, and they're also fun as hell. Ever since I was a kid, I've played these games on and off. Usually, I'll play all the way through them until I've completed every task the game has to offer, and then I'll stop for a couple months. Every time I complete Super Mario Galaxy 1, I feel a deep sense of accomplishment because it usually takes a long ass time. In order to complete Super Mario Galaxy 1, you have to collect 120 power stars in total. Now, I'm not going to include the 121st star you unlocked after beating the game with Luigi, as the majority of the stars are just repeats from the first playthrough. With this being said, the game obviously takes a very long time to complete. You are required to go to each of the different worlds that the game has to offer, which include the terrace, the bathroom, the kitchen, the bedroom, the engine room, and garden, with a few Lumas and side areas sprinkled in. The worlds you go to progressively get more difficult as you go on, and as you progress, you're met with the addition of Prankster Stars. Prankster Stars usually take a certain part of a level you played and add a challenging aspect. There are 5 different Prankster Comets you can encounter, and I'm going to explain each of these briefly. The red comet is called a speedy comet, and usually you only have a limited amount of time to complete a portion of a level, or in some cases, the entire level. These can be challenging, because if you run out of time, you die. The white comet is called the Daredevil Comet. With Daredevil Comets, you have to fight a certain boss in the game, but you are only given 1 hit point, as opposed to the normal 3. The blue Cosmic Comet requires you to race a dark cosmic version of yourself to a set finish line. The yellow Fast Foe Comets speed up certain enemies, which increases the pace of the level greatly. And finally, the purple comets require you to collect a set amount of purple coins that are scattered across the stage. These also have the possibility of a time limit, which makes it hard, of course. There's also green star levels that require you to collect stars given to you by Luigi, and these are some of the hardest stars in the game. One has you going through a very difficult water course, one has the most difficult rolling ball level in the game, and the other one makes you blow a bubble in very precise directions. So with the level stars, plus the Prankster Comets, plus the Luma, plus that one red star I didn't mention, you will reach 120 stars collected. At this point, you can go back to the Bowser fight, and once you defeat him again, you unlock Luigi. Now let's talk about what you have to do in Super Mario Galaxy 2. Now imagine doing the same thing, but twice as much. Instead of having a central hub where you can launch yourself to all the worlds, you drive a ship that is powered by stars, and it's also shaped like Mario. Same as last time, you go from level to level and collect the stars that you can find. Then, once you fight Bowser, you unlock a special world. This area of the game has the hardest galaxies in them, including Rolling Coaster Galaxy, Boss Blitz Galaxy, and the infamous Grandmaster Galaxy. In order to reach Grandmaster Galaxy, you have to get all stars possible to collect. Then you have to go back and beat Bowser again with Luigi, and this unlocks the green stars. Now the green stars are what makes this game a grind. You see, there are 120 normal stars, and once you unlock the green stars, it has 120 more stars for you to collect. So you go back through every single level and collect all of the green stars. And then you can finally play the Grandmaster Galaxy. With this, you unlock the first level known as the Ultimate Test. After beating this though, you're still not done. You then have to max out the Starbit Bank on Starship Mario, which also takes a really long time. Then finally, you can play the perfect run and 100% the game. After all of this, you feel a sense of accomplishment because you've collected every star that the Galaxy series has to offer. And it kind of leads you to wonder, which of these games do I like more? Which of these games feels better to play? Then you wonder, well, Super Mario Galaxy 2 has more stars, so it must be more fulfilling to complete. But that idea doesn't make sense whenever you remember all the green stars. This is the idea that I'm trying to push. What is missing from Super Mario Galaxy 2? Why does a lot of the game feel completely forgettable? Well, I don't know yet, so one distinction I want to make is that Super Mario Galaxy 2 is not a bad game. In fact, it's far from it. This game is a good representation of what it means to make a good sequel. The majority of the game feels new and refreshing, and it also doesn't ignore its predecessor like other games would do. It is everything that a video game sequel should be. You can tell that this game was made with love, and they tried really hard to make a worthy sequel. With this being said though, it just doesn't feel the same. Like, I get it. They're two completely different games. They're supposed to be different. With these two games though, I feel like they shouldn't be this separated. The problem is, whenever you think about Mario moving around in a galaxy setting, both of these games make sense. They just do it in different ways. For example, we could talk about how the controls vary from each game. There are many different ways to move around in both of these games. You have the classic jump, double jump, triple jump, wall jump, bat flip, side flip, and ground pound. Super Mario Galaxy 2 adds more ways of doing these things. The main addition that it's added is Yoshi. With Yoshi, you can do almost all the same things as Mario, but you can now flutter in the air, propelling you upwards for a little bit. Also, fun fact, you can alternate fluttering and crouching mid-air to flutter infinitely. If you're really good, you can skip entire levels. Yoshi can also consume things that give him powers, including the spicy pepper, glowberry, and blimp fruit. Each of these adds another challenge to a level, and more importantly, another way of control. Remember the racing games with the Stingray in the first game? Well, it's replaced by a glider race. You can use a bird called Fluzzard to race against other computer birds. This can be challenging because you have to tilt your Wii remote in certain directions, and sometimes it can be a little wonky. However, this is my only complaint when it comes to the game's controls. In a way, they're better than the first Galaxy. I believe that since this is the second game, it allowed them more time to polish the controls, and all in all, they just feel good. So if the controls aren't the reason, then is it just the game itself? I mean, the levels are unique, and the game is generally more fun. The game takes everything from the first game and adds another level of depth. I mean, look at the game. One thing that Super Mario Galaxy 2 does better than the first Galaxy game is creating a more unique world. Each of the level ideas are more unique than the last, and the game is just so goddamn colorful. What's cool about this game is that no two galaxies are truly the same. If there's a certain theme, it somehow finds a way to make the most of that theme. For example, take the glider levels that I mentioned earlier. Both of them are inherently very similar, but instead of the second level being another jungle level, it takes you to a uber mechanical world that is simultaneously falling apart. You can see so many examples of this. Another one, there are two levels that are largely focused on trees. Tall Trunk Galaxy and Clock Ruins Galaxy. The first level introduces the blimp fruit in a unique way, as it's required to beat the level. You have to use the blimp fruit to travel up the trees to collect all the items you need. In the second Galaxy, the trees turn into cards that turn, and eventually it leads to a concrete jungle that is not in any way similar to the first level. What this game does excellently is separating the idea of the galaxy from the theme. It's either the same idea with two different themes, or the same thing with two different ideas. This improves from the first game, because a lot of the levels were very similar. For example, Beach Bowl Galaxy and Seaside Galaxy. You see here, there's a repeating theme, and repeating ideas. Both of these galaxies have secret areas that you need to get to. Both of the galaxies have purple coin stars, and both of them are beaches. Yes, I get it, they aren't completely the same, but you can see the confusion. Both similar levels with basically identical themes. There is one category where Super Mario Galaxy 1 takes the upper hand though, that being music. It's a well-known fact that both of these games are known for their amazing musical productions. I'm telling you, every galaxy, every world, every area of this game has the most perfect, well-matching song to have as the background music. Every single area just has the perfect song to match the vibe. If you're in a beach-themed world, the music is jolly and reminds you of the ocean. If you're in an intense fight with the boss, the music will make you feel nervous. These two games have perfect sound to match each situation, which also makes them great for background music. Now, if you're watching this video, you've likely seen a plethora of videos talking about why the music is good. But we need to distinguish Super Mario Galaxy 1 from Super Mario Galaxy 2. I believe that Super Mario Galaxy 1 has the better music, which is simply my opinion. I believe the songs sound more concise, and generally, they're a lot more memorable. Even with this though, Super Mario Galaxy 2 is still one of the best soundtracks of all time. I wish I could dive into the specific details about why this game's music is a little worse, but I know nothing about music theory, so I don't think it would be a good idea for me to talk out of my ass. Also, people may think that one of the central hubs of the two games is better, and they're right, it's Super Mario Galaxy 1. However, there is one specific factor about these games that separates them greatly. What is the most emotional moment to happen in each of these games? This, in my opinion, is the most clear distinction in quality between these two games. When you put these two games in regard to emotion, then we can clearly see that they are very separated. Whenever you think of the most emotional moment in Super Mario Galaxy 2, only one main thing really comes to mind. Also, warning, there's going to be some spoilers for the end of these games, so if you don't want to see that, just click off the video. At the end of the game, Mario reunites with Peach and they return back to Starship Mario. At this point, the universe is saved, and Rosalina from Super Mario Galaxy 1 comes back to thank Mario. At this point, Luma reunites with its creator, I think, and we did a special moment where two bridges connect and this ends the game. Also, whenever you unlock the green stars, we did a special cutscene. You see, this ending leaves you in a good mood. However, Super Mario Galaxy 1's ending takes a different approach. Now I'm going to play a little cutscene, and this best demonstrates what I'm about to say. This game's ending is special. Instead of the ending just being good or happy, it quickly messes things up, leaving you on the edge of your seat. Whenever the Lumas sacrifice themselves, we see Mario go into purgatory. This moment is the one that leaves you confused and heart-stricken. You wonder if Mario actually passed away, and we come to find that Rosalina has given us another chance, only for that feeling to quickly go away and everyone is okay. And this is the second half of the ending. The first half shows a very strange sight. After defeating Bowser, we see his world literally crumble before him, and he stumbles to find a place to stand. Then the planet explodes and forms the black hole, which causes the previous events to unfold. Bowser, as we just saw him, is in his most vulnerable state. His world is literally falling apart, as everything he set up has been for nothing. At this point, we could kind of sympathize with Bowser, not because he kidnapped someone, but because we used to see him in a much different light. Bowser has always been this almost unstoppable force in the Mario games, and we rarely ever see him deviate from this form. He's supposed to be the pinnacle of the Mario game playthrough, as he's always the final boss, but to see him completely shattered, almost defenseless, makes you think, was it all worth it? It's rare we ever get to see a sympathy for the villain moment happen in any form of media, may it be movies, TV shows, and even games. This alone makes the game's story special. But whenever we think about Super Mario Galaxy 2, there's never really a moment where we're shocked or left speechless. The only moment, as far as I know, is the jump scare before you collect the final Grand Star. The emotions that we feel in the first game are simply not there. You see, these emotions are the wow factor that separates these two games. I hate to say it, but it's just that simple. At this point in the video, I'm going to be talking about some pretty weird things, including existentialism. But I believe it's important to understand the purpose of these Galaxy games. This is probably me speaking out of my ass, but I believe that Super Mario Galaxy 1 is not only a game about Mario and stars, but it's also a game that represents our worst fear, which is death. Not specifically death itself, but dying alone. I think the majority of people out there would rather die with loved ones than dying alone. In order to avoid this, we try and find people in our life to have as companions. This could be friends, a romantic partner, or even a pet. Then, once we've collected a team, we can finally reach peace. You see, this game is a good representation of this lifestyle. We can learn a lot of things from it. For one, it makes you comfortable with the idea of temporary existence. We are not on this earth for long, and every single person watching this video will die eventually. You never know how you're going to die, or when you're going to die, as life is completely unpredictable, and it also has the special quality of only happening once. Nothing we can do in our time here is completely repeatable, as each experience you have can never be gone back to. You can never relive your 6th birthday party. You can never relive your first kiss. No matter what, we always get closer to our timely death. Now, you may be thinking, what the hell do these existential thoughts have to do with Super Mario Galaxy? Well, the ending that we just took a dive into has a pretty good representation of life. As Mario sees everything start to get destroyed, he panics in fear because he knows that his life is about to end. Every experience this plumber has had is coming back to him, and he can't bring himself to accept it. Then, Luma comes out of his hat in order to comfort him. Mario now realizes that he is no longer alone, so this idea of death is a little more comforting. If he thinks like we humans do, he should realize that the people and things he's been trying to gather his whole life, his companions, have been next to him this whole time. Without knowing it, he could have accepted his fate at any time, because he knows he's not truly alone. This thought, however, can be difficult to understand. If you're truly alone, you can't really accept the fact of death. However, the thing is, you can. This game tries to help you understand the fact that if you're alone, that's perfectly okay. The game soaks you in the feeling of being alone. The game, Super Mario Galaxy, is inherently lonely. Every single level, you know that you, yourself, even though you're surrounded with vibrant environments and so many monsters and allies, are truly alone. When you look out into the distance in the Comet Observatory, you're alone. You see a vast emptiness, and you realize that you, yourself, are insignificant. Insignificant and lonely, that is. I would think that a game about a Jumpman plumber going through the cosmos would be so happy and fun. But in reality, it's lonely, and we don't know why. Well, this game is special because it makes us experience emotion. This game is special because it makes us experience emotion. And what most of us fail to realize that your emotions, all of them, are important. Feeling sad is just as important as being happy. The same goes with being lonely. If you're not lonely at all, then you won't grow to appreciate the times when you're not lonely. Loneliness is a necessary emotion. Every emotion is a necessary emotion. And this game is special because it makes you feel all of these emotions. Getting back on track, Super Mario Galaxy 2 doesn't feel as lonely. Sure, there are moments whenever you realize the scale of things, but the game doesn't give you an outlet to feel these emotions. The story is here to be told, and depending on the person, forgotten. The story in Super Mario Galaxy, though, is gut-wrenching, which pushes it ahead of its sequel.